Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero, and it's time to talk about this week's Battle of the Brands. It's the battle for supremacy between Raw and SmackDown. Which show won the week? SmackDown coming in with a several-week winning streak. Will they continue this week? Well, that's up to you, folks. You voted on Twitter, at PWR Show on Twitter, participating in our poll earlier in the week. We have those results for you here tonight. But before we get to that, David Hero, your thoughts on Raw this past Monday night. What was your takeaway from the Red Show?
The Red Show was a changing of the guard, going in a completely different direction than they did at SummerSlam. I mean, they went from the high-flying, charismatic Demon King,
who's injured,
right, to now the brawler, Kevin Owens. They went from one extreme to another. I mean, and I'm happy for Kevin Owens. I think it's a huge, great win for him.
Why not Rollins, though? He seems so great to be champion.
Because it buries Kevin Owens.
But is it as Tommy Dreamer said, or is it as... Tommy Dreamer is going to be joining us tomorrow, by the way. I just let the cat out of the bag, if you will. He's going to be our special guest on Feedback Friday. But we were talking to him today as we were preparing for the show, and he said that, perhaps Rollins doesn't need the championship.
He doesn't right now. No. He's an established top main event guy. And I don't really think Kevin Owens needs it, but he's earned it.
Has he?
Yeah.
Because he did like the Miz said on SmackDown. He wrestled in bingo halls for 15 years. That's not a knock. That's what the Miz said.
I think you're knocking.
That's what the Miz said.
He's had a great year.
Okay. So that was your takeaway from Raw. A good takeaway from Raw. Obviously, it was the biggest talked about thing this past Monday night on Raw. For me, it was that and the odd interaction between Paul Heyman and Stephanie McMahon. Well, it was odd. It was bizarre, and it ended funnily.
A grown man gave an attractive woman a bunch of singles?
No, it was her acceptance of his apology. I just found it to be a little wonky, if you will.
About Shane.
She said she did.
She lies.
Why would she lie about that? Why would she call Paul Heyman to the ring to lie about caring for her family and her brother?
She wanted the $500.
It meant that much to her, $500. She who holds millions of dollars in stock of the company.
But that's all taxable.
This wasn't under the table. It was on national television.
That's cash. Prove it.
SmackDown, though, this week, David Hero, your takeaway from the Blues show on Tuesday night, which was headlined by Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin in a non-title match.
They misused the NXT stars, Apollo Crews
such as?
And Baron Corbin.
Well, not Carmella. She attacked Nikki Bella.
Which I don't understand at all. I don't get that. But
God, I love Naomi, by the way.
Her entrance is fantastic.
It's and I'm an EDM guy, electronic dance music.
Oh, I thought it was
I was going to go to EZoo this weekend.
It was a bowel movement problem.
No, that's a whole different thing. Carmella attacking Nikki Bella during that matchup featuring Naomi. A bit surprising as well, but let's see where it goes.
I'm not into the whole Carmella thing. I think Carmella, I wish she would have been with Enzo and Cass. I think that's where she belongs. I don't buy her being a badass, chick.
So what was your takeaway from SmackDown this past Tuesday?
It was the way they misused Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin. They didn't misuse Baron Corbin that much because he had a great showing.
He had a great match.
And I understand AJ Styles is a top guy, but to beat Apollo Crews clean, it does some damage to him.
Miz beat him at SummerSlam clean.
Different story.
How so?
Because it was the Miz's. He's been around longer, took advantage of his rookiness. So now you're going to start having all these other vets beat him clean.
It's interesting, and no one's really talked about this, and there was a lot of talk about it when it first happened, and much like the WWE Championship belts, the Raw and SmackDown both got new looks after SummerSlam.
Yes, they did.
And they're slick, by the way. I mean, it's absolutely just the money. They spend more money on the ring than some companies' annual production budget probably is.
Ring post now.
Yeah, absolutely. But a slightly different look for the two shows, but a slightly similar look as well for the two shows, which is smart on their part from a production standpoint. Use the same pieces to make it look slightly different, but still distinctly different between the two shows, I think.
Much like the belts, all look the same. It's about the brand.
I'm sorry, who all looks the same?
The championships.
Copy that. Awesome. So in your mind, David Hero, which show won the week this week?
There's only one reason why Raw wins, and that's because of the crowning of Kevin Owens as Universal Champion.
You give the week to WWE Raw on Monday night.
Only because of that.
Oh, 3 hours and 9 minutes of it, I think it was this week.
Yes.
All right, fair enough. Well, folks, the fan voting is in. The poll results are in. What you thought was the better show of the week. And for the first time in, I think, PWR history, recent history anyways, you agree with David Hero. 78% of you giving the win to Raw with 28% voting for SmackDown. What's interesting, and I don't dispute those results, actually I agree with them, Raw was the better show this week, but it's amazing how one moment, one thing, one match can skew an entire 3 or 2 hour period.
Reigns wins, everyone loves SmackDown, but Kevin Owens, and he's the darling. It's because of him.
Is that a favorable term to use, darling?
Sure. We love darlings.
Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine.
You're dating yourself right now.
That
That's
would
old
be
school.
impossible. Who pays for? I guess I would.
The right hand always pays.
I am ambidextrous. Like that pitcher for the Seattle Mariners?
Yeah. I'm impressed.
Yeah, should be,
Good
shouldn't
for
you?
you.
Yeah. First one in over, what, almost 100 years?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Anyways, you don't know what I don't know. Folks, it is an amazing weekend of Pro Wrestling Report television here, and we are broadcasting from Casablanca on Brady, here on Brady Street in Milwaukee. Literally one of my favorite places in the city. You know, it is always a great time here at Casablanca. Could have some amazing hookah, some great Middle Eastern cuisine, and just have all kinds of fun. We're broadcasting here all weekend long, and tomorrow, right here on this very program, well, on Feedback Friday, but on this very PWR, I guess you can call it, Tommy Dreamer joins us for Feedback Friday. I got a feeling, David Hero, that this is going to be an epic Feedback Friday.
Oh, there's no question. With my knowledge and his knowledge, and you just...
Did you just sit here in that very chair, at this very table, in that very coat, and say that your mind is comparable to that of Tommy Dreamer, one of the most respected men in wrestling?
No, I said with my knowledge and his knowledge. I didn't say it's the same.
You
but
compared. Again.
No, just there's a lot of knowledge that's going to be here.
And that knowledge will be extrapolated by the Wolf Blitzer trained broadcast journalist, myself. Here tomorrow, Feedback Friday. I'll be the man in the middle, David Hero, between you and Tommy Dreamer. Tomorrow on Feedback Fridays, we talk about Alberto Del Rio, Ryback, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, TNA, ECW. We go everywhere, all over the place tomorrow with Tommy Dreamer.
It is a must-see Feedback.
That's Feedback Friday, a very special edition of Feedback Friday tomorrow right here on Fight TV. That's FITE, the Fight TV app, and on our YouTube channel. Following that, though, on Saturday, it's a loaded edition of Prime Time as well. We look back more details about Raw and SmackDown. We also have this week's hot news. A look back at Impact Wrestling. And Tommy Dreamer joins us again for a very special sit-down interview, one-on-one, me and Tommy Dreamer on Prime Time this upcoming Saturday. I think it's Dreamer's first appearance. We've had so many stars on the show. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Miz,
JR,
Seth Rollins,
Punk.
JR, CM Punk. Now Tommy Dreamer joins us here on the Pro Wrestling Report. Can anybody else do that?
I don't know.
It's amazing what 18 years gets you.
Thank God it's 18. If it's anything less than that, you're in trouble.
Let's talk about a Bobby Heenan moment. I remember it was on Primetime, I think, and some guy said something about being married, and Bobby Heenan goes, "When did you get married?" He goes, 20 years ago. He goes, "Do you realize if you'd have killed her, you'd be out by now?"
Yeah.
Folks, that is this weekend's programming from the Pro Wrestling Report. Thank you so much for joining us for Battle of the Brands. And remember, you still have time to get in where you fit in and be a part of Feedback Friday, where we share your comments tomorrow. Just comment on this and all of our videos on our YouTube channel. That's PWR, youtube.com/Max Sports. Until tomorrow for Feedback Friday with Tommy Dreamer, for that one, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you for joining us here for this week's Battle of the Brands.